recording on here. Let's do this shit. I hope your day is full of cookies. Shortbread cookies and black and white cookies and I'm already out of cookies. Oreos and snickerdoodles and starting out I thought that there were more cookies than there are. Peanut butter cookies and oatmeal raisin cookies. Oatmeal raisin cookies get fucked. I used to like oatmeal raisin cookies before I tried chocolate chip. Anyone who prefers oatmeal raisin to chocolate chip is mentally deranged. Nothing like a sea salt chocolate chip, macadamia nut, white chocolate. What other kinds of cookies are there? Nutter butters. I'm going the Nabisco route now. Chips Ahoy. Chips Ahoy, not my favorite. Let's be honest. Just leave something to be desired. Guys, we have an amazing episode of Shenk for you this week with the one, the only Alexis Haines. You know her from the show Pretty Wild. She has a podcast called Recovering from Reality. She is an amazing human being. She came on the podcast. She talks about being sober. She's seen a lot of stuff. I mean, she's been in jail. She's gotten arrested. So she's a really interesting person to sit down and talk to. She's the mother of 2. She's in the middle of a divorce. She was poly. She identifies as being queer, but she has a boyfriend. So it's like, she's just a very interesting person, and the whole podcast is really exciting. And if you guys don't know who she is, I think you're going to really enjoy this episode of Shenk. Getting to talk to Alexis Haines. But before we get into this week's episode of Shenk with Alexis Haines, there's just something I want to tell you about, and that's socks. Oh yeah, look down at your feet right now. Are you wearing socks? If you're not wearing socks, ask yourself why. Socks protect your most valuable asset, your toes. Toes are a form of currency in 2022. I don't know if you guys knew this, but toes are currently worth more than the US dollar. That's right. Your toes are currently worth more than the US dollar. Why do I think that actually probably is true? Inflation causing the value of toes to increase, honey. Guys, we have an amazing episode of Shenk for you, but before we get into this week's episode of Shenk, I want to remind you, head to ohyeah.com. That's 3 O's, HYEAH.com. Buy a pair of socks to support your favorite podcast, whether you're into Mr. Rogers or Bob Ross or plants or aliens or Bigfoot or Dungeons and Dragons. There's a pair of socks for you. They make great gifts. I can't tell you how many times I've surprised my friends with a pair of Oh Yeah socks, and they're always very excited when they get them, and they say that they make them feel happy inside. So give the gift of socks. We have a discount code. It's Sara10, SARA 10 for 10% off unique Oh Yeah sock designs. Okay, also, before we get into this week's episode of Shenk with Alexis Haines, there's just something I want to tell you, and that's that I will be in Bellflower on July 29th. That's Friday. July 29th, it's going to be me, Kim Congdon, and Josh Potter at 8 p.m. at the Stand Up Club in Bellflower. That's going to be a really great show. You're getting to see 3 headlining comics, all for the price of 1. Come out, support live comedy. And if you're enjoying this podcast, leave a review. If you haven't listened to my podcast, This Bitch with Kimberly Congdon, go give that a listen. Subscribe to that as well. And we'll see you here next week on Shenk. But let's get into this week's episode of Shenk with the one, the only Alexis Haines. Guys, here it is. There you go. Were you talking to the mic so I can test your levels?
Testing.
Blah, blah, blah.
I think we're good.
Okay.
Probably.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
Let me make it more complicated than it needs to be. Hi, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Shenk. I'm Sara WEINSHENK'S, and today's guest is Alexis Haines.
Hi.
Hi. I'm so excited to have you on the podcast.
I'm excited to be back.
Yeah, this is your second time on the podcast. The first time you came on the podcast was at the Comedy Store.
Yeah.
And it's funny because right before we started recording, you reminded me, which I already knew, that I was fresh out of the psych ward.
Yeah. I literally, you sat me down. You're like, just letting you know, I just got out of a psychosis. And I'm like, should you be working right now? I'm not sure. But we had a good time.
We had a good time. And it's interesting because I've been a fan of you for a while. I have.
That's
I remember
so sweet.
watching.
I'm a fan
I
of
remember
yours,
watching
too.
the show.
Yeah.
Pretty wild.
Yeah.
And then it's been so crazy to see your evolution over the last 10 years. And it's really inspiring. And I want to have you on to talk about all the things that you've seen and been through, because as a comedian, like, talking about mental health is really important to me. I don't think enough people are having those conversations. And you're someone who's been through literally so much, and you've just come back way more strong.
Well, I don't know about that. Like, I
From
think
the outside.
everyone, I think it's like, I still struggle. And that's the thing. Like, I think the people who are talking about mental health are like, I'm good, I'm fine, everything's great. And I'm here to say that, like, I'm someone who's done extensive therapy, various forms of different healing modalities, someone who's been in recovery for 11 years, who's both in Al-Anon and AA, and someone who has done like somatic healing work and all of this work. And I still struggle.
Right.
Because, we're human and shit comes up. And I think that, when we hear from, and I love Brene Brown, and I love Gabby Bernstein, and I love Glennon Doyle, and I love all these like figureheads, especially in like the women's mental health field. But it's like, I want to hear that, like, you still have really shitty hard days. Like, that you have as many hard days as you do good days,
Right.
And I don't think that there's enough people talking about that.
The bad days.
About the struggles. And I know that, like, I probably would have, like, 3 times the amount of followers that I do on Instagram, like, if I just kept it, like, peachy and happy all the time. And so I get why they do that, but I just don't find it relatable. And that type of content to me, and consuming that type of content, which is why I started my own podcast on mental health, and which I'm currently taking an extended, I don't even know if I'm ever going to be back hiatus from, because of my mental health right now. I'm going through a divorce, and it's really, and I've got a special needs daughter, and I'm just tapped out. So yeah, I think that, holding space for these conversations isn't easy, because it's often really triggering.
Right.
But if it's triggering you, there's magic there. And I want people to understand that.
Right. And I also think it's important to realize that healing is not a linear experience.
No.
So some days you could be feeling great, and then the next day you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And even something, I mean, for me, one of the things that helps the most, been keeping me out of the psych ward, exercise.
Love that.
Oh, like, I exercise, I look at trees.
She's a hiking queen now.
I'm a hiking queen.
She's always like, you want to come over and hike? I'm like, I do. I just don't know when I have the space to drive 30 minutes into Topeka Canyon.
You want to drive to the edge of a cliff?
It's so far.
I'm like, yeah, you're like, I'm a single mom who works so hard. You want me to do what? Go on a casual hike?
No, like, I love the idea of it, but I'm like, how am I going to get there?
No, I get it.
And I'm looking outside, and it's just literally magical, but it's like, how? And that's so sad. It's so sad that, like, and I think that that's why I'm doing like a full stop on the pod right now. And I'm so grateful that I have the luxury to do this, because I sold my house, so I can.
That's awesome.
The market's booming right now, so I sold right at the perfect time, and I have space to live off of the money I made off the house. But, and I understand that's a luxury that most people don't have. But the question really became, like, is operating like this sustainable? And for me, the answer was so clear, just based off of how my body was feeling, that no, it's not. And so even with slowing down, which I'm not at a full stop yet, but I'm pumping the brakes. I still don't have time to come fucking hiking. You know, it's like life
Right.
in itself is so busy, but then add like full-time work on it and like this like hustle culture that we're in. It's impossible.
I'm so sick of the hustle culture.
I
I
know.
thought it was going to stop after the pandemic. I'm like, cool, we're all just going to do our own thing. I'm going to live
I
in the
know.
woods. I'm not going to have to go perform on stage like a tap dancing rat. Like, I'm in the woods hiking, getting my chakras aligned.
I know.
So, okay, you're in the middle of a divorce.
I am.
How is that going? Like, where are you with it? I mean, because I've watched your journey. You were married, and then you guys opened a relationship,
Mm-hmm.
and you were poly and dating women, and then now you're divorced.
Yeah. Yeah, I married my ex-husband Evan when I was 20. We got together when I was 19.
That's crazy.
Yeah. We were married for 10 years. I think if you would have asked anyone a year and a half ago if we would ever get divorced, everyone would say absolutely not. They're like the strongest couple in the world. And we had such a deep admiration for each other, and we were really great parents. And I think we both thought when we started talking about, which it wasn't just like, let's open the marriage. Like, it was like a little over a year of discussing and processing what that could look like. I think we thought we were in a much better place than we were. I think there was a lot of stuff that was under the surface that neither of us were really ready to look at yet.
Yeah, I've been in their relationships. We're
Yeah.
like, let's just see if this is an issue. It keeps happening.
Well, it's just like, I think, again, talking about like the spaciousness. How do I put this? Like, Evan and I were both really like healthy, you know, compared to like the vast majority of the population.
Right.
Like, mentally healthy.
Both sober.
People. Yeah.
Working on yourselves.
And I think that because of that, we just thought we'd always be good. And I think because of how busy both of us were, we kind of forgot to take care of each other in the way that we each needed to.
Right.
And so there was some underlying stuff there that I'm not quite ready to talk about, that neither of us were privy to until after the marriage opened up. So we opened the marriage June of 2021, May of 2021, excuse me. And in the beginning, it was going really well. I wanted to explore my sexuality. I felt like I didn't really have an opportunity to do that.
Because you were married at 19.
No. Well, yes. And because I always knew that I loved women. I was having consensual sexual experiences with females before I was ever in relationships with boys and eventually men. And
so you initially were attracted to women before you were dating men.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was when I was really little, just like with my friends. Like, I had crushes on girls in kindergarten. Like, I knew that I didn't know what gay was, but I knew that
right.
I liked girls
right.
as much as I liked little boys.
Right.
If not more.
Right.
And then around the age of 12, I started exploring with my friends who also liked girls. And I was like, wow, I really
like girls.
like girls. But in my small suburban town, like, I wasn't like ready or like open to dating
right.
women.
Right.
And so I suppressed that quite a bit, and then had a longer term relationship with my drug dealer.
Really?
Yeah.
You had a woman drug dealer?
No, male drug dealer.
I was like, hell yeah, I don't know any women drug dealers.
I was a woman drug dealer. But no, I got into drugs really early, and I started dating this guy Kevin, and obviously, like, when you're in that kind of relationship and you're using drugs, you become really dependent on each other. And everyone knows the rest of the story because I've been on the podcast before, went to jail, had a reality TV show, twice convicted felon, got sober at 19. Bam, met Evan, got married, you know what I mean? So it was
That's
just like
so much back to back with no breathing room.
No breathing room. No, I still don't have breathing room. I know my nervous system right now is like shot because it's like, God, you just have not had time. Like, had my first daughter, had my second daughter, and then really like went through the last 5 years of like Woolsey fire burning down all of my business. My grandfather committed suicide, shot himself in the head.
No.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
Some health scare stuff that happened. Couple crazy lawsuits at work, and then bam, the pandemic, and like here we are. Now we're going through a divorce, and it's like, what happened? So Evan and I like were like conscious parents and like what we believe to be like a pretty conscious couple. We open up our marriage. I begin exploring with women. I'm off to the races, and I'm like, oh my God, like I
having the time of your life.
Never dating a man again. Never want to touch a man again. Like all of the things. And like here I am dating a man again. We'll get to that. But
right.
I started dating this girl, Kim, and I was like, oh, wow.
Strong feelings.
Yeah. Like this is like I've needed this.
You've needed to be intimate with a woman.
Yeah. It's like a different level of intimacy. Like, I don't know how to explain. Like, it's a softness, a gentleness, a nurturing,
well, I'll tell you this. I go to my lesbian friend's home. Everything is spotless. Yeah. One of them's working.
Cats, though?
No cats.
Okay, that's amazing. You rarely find that.
No cats, spotless. They have a baby. They take turns. I'm like, this is a dream situation. Like two women running this shit.
It's amazing.
I'm like, it's way less chaotic than the masculine feminine. Typical.
Relationship. Yeah. Where a woman is like burnt out and unseen and not cared for, and
And it happens so much.
It happens so much. And even in my like pretty conscious relationship, it was there and I didn't really
see it.
And I was so burnt out. And so Kim was a beautiful relationship, but ultimately like she wanted more than I could give. That needed to end. And then I started dating Chris, and God bless her. She's such a sweet soul, but she just had so much work to do. She was so hot that I was just like,
she was hot. She had like a cool rocker boy kind of.
She was very Ruby Rose.
Yeah.
Kim was a little bit more femme, longer hair, and I, that's the thing. I love women.
You're an equal opportunity player.
Yeah, you don't have to be masked. You don't have to. You get to just be who you are. And she was a sweet, sweet soul. But that wasn't going to work out because there's a difference between being needed and desired. She was really needy.
No.
Yeah. And that became a problem for me.
See, that's interesting because as a woman who's dated men, I feel like it's something that you constantly have to check. Kind of, because guys are not down with a needy woman, and I'm also, it's hard. It's like it's off-putting if you're too needy in a relationship.
That's the thing. There's a difference between like being desired and being wanted and being needed, and there was this shift that started happening. I think so. She had never had like been in love before and all these things, and I think she started developing like really deep feelings. And I was going through like a pretty stressful time period, and my marriage started to get really stressful during that time. And I had like tons, you know how it is with podcasting and advertisers, like the holiday season's our busiest season, and it's just like the demands were so high. And she was like, why are you calling me back? And what am I going to see? And I was just like, oh, my sex drive just went like way down. Now,
this is the least hot thing that could have ever.
It feels like to be a man with like a desperate woman, like it just
like a needy woman.
And I was like, no, this is not gonna work for me. So, ended things with Chris, and so anyway, I haven't really talked about all the details of it, but in open relationships and open marriages, when you structure them, there's still rules, and you can still cheat in an open marriage.
Right. So you're ethically non-monogamous.
Yeah.
Before.
So we were ethically non-monogamous in an open marriage. We didn't have mutual partners. We dated separately.
Okay. So there is no mixing of.
No,
okay.
We tried the whole threesome thing, and I just was like, I just want this girl. Like, I don't
want to share my girlfriend with my husband.
And
I get it. Okay.
Yeah, we tried that once, and I was like, it's not really for me.
Like, these are two separate things.
Yeah. And I'm also someone that needs like somewhat of an emotional connect. Like, I can have a fun sexual like one-off experience, sure. Like,
right.
Yeah. But really, to like enjoy myself and feel connection, like I need, or to enjoy myself and like get off on.
To come, you need to feel safe, honey.
There you go.
There you go.
And so it's like I can have a great time and like enjoy myself, but like in order for me to really enjoy myself, I need to feel
a connection
and that safety. Anyway, we had rules in place. The rules were broken on his end, and it was a pretty big break. It was a pretty big like blow up moment for us.
Okay. Did he tell? How did you find?
I found
something. Okay.
And his behavior was off since October, and I started like kind of asking questions, and he wasn't really
giving much.
No, and I could tell something was up, and then something happened right around Christmas that I was like, that's bizarre behavior. And then, we as women have like this
intuition,
and I just was like, I never thought that I would be a prodder and a prior, but I'm gonna, because
it's human nature.
And I mean, that rocked my world. Like, I never expected that.
Well, because from the outside looking in, when you decided to open your relationship up, I thought it was inspiring, because when I think about being committed to somebody for over 10 years, I'm like, huh?
Yeah, I mean, listen, open marriage, this is not to say, and Evan and I could have saved our marriage. Hold on. Needed some water.
Okay.
I think we should be good now.
I just
have an intuitive feeling.
You have an intuitive feeling?
Yeah. I forgot what I was saying, though.
You were telling me, because from the outside looking in, it seemed like the best of both worlds, because you have a beautiful family, and then you're in this thing where, because to me, like, the worst part about like somebody cheating on you, or that feeling, like if you're in an open thing, it feels like you're allowing yourself and your partner's space to explore.
Yeah.
And it seems like after being in a marriage for 10 years, I mean, I've been in relationships for 2 years and been like, dude, how am I going to do this?
Yeah.
Long term.
Yeah.
And also, so it seemed like you guys were both very evolved people who were working on yourselves. And I thought that it was really amazing from the outside looking in to have a partner to have a partnership where you guys were allowing each other to be your authentic selves, even if it wasn't necessarily part of the plan initially.
I mean, it was amazing. It had like lots of great moments, especially when I was dating Chris, and Evan, Chris, and I would hang out together, and she would come stay at the house, and I have lots of great memories from that time period. But at the end of the day, and again, like I said, like our marriage could have worked out. But in order to do that, you have to have two equal parties that want to work on it. And that wasn't the case for our relationship.
Right.
And so then you begin to ask yourself, well, how long am I going to sit around and wait for this person to
show up?
Yeah.
Or not?
Yeah.
Right.
When really it was like I needed him to show up for so long. Like there was this underlying stuff that like.
But did you not realize it when you were in it because life was just so busy?
No, I think that I just I bought into what he told me, you know.
Right.
And I loved my husband and I trusted him, and I think that I still had some self-worth issues that I needed to work through.
Those come up so much in relationships.
Yeah, and I'm still so young. Like I just turned 31.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You've been through like more shit than people that are like 75 years old have been through. You're like, I got off heroin, been to jail.
It's a lot, and so yeah, and so here we are, and we're figuring out single motherhood, raising an autistic daughter, which is really more and more challenging the older she gets.
Really?
Yeah, it's harder and harder for sure. And then I've got my 9-year-old who is brilliant and wonderful and also struggling. You know, we all went to dinner as a family last night and said at dinner that she wishes mommy and daddy were still together, and so yeah, it's like oof, like there's like a lot on my plate right now.
Right.
And so yeah, that's where I'm at.
Right. Well, it's just been it's interesting to talk with someone who's had so much life experience at such a young age, because most of my friends are like comics and they're not married and they haven't been in open relationships and they're probably still using drugs. So it's not you come like, yeah, you're 31, but the experience you have and the knowledge that you have is so profound, and that's why I wanted to get you on the podcast.
Thanks.
Yeah,
I mean, we grow or we go.
We grow or we go. I like
it. And so for me, and there's this balance actually, because I was talking to my therapist. I'm back in therapy once again.
We love that.
Yeah.
I never left.
Yeah. I never really stopped working on myself, but I finally found a form of therapy that's really working for me. I was doing, you know, cognitive behavioral therapy or talk therapy for like years and years and years, and then I was like, how long can you one talk about themselves
in circles?
Yeah. And you know, and so I just kept working a 12-step program, and I have lots of sponsees and working the steps and all of that, and then finally I'm back in therapy, but I'm doing internal family systems, which is like really kind of like a somatic, very spiritual level of healing that it's unlike anything I've ever experienced before.
So walk me through what that looks like, because I have no idea.
So for anyone who wants to learn more about this, and it's interesting because I was like on the money. Like I developed my life reset course because I was taking people through the steps, and I realized that they needed to learn more from me than I could do as a sponsor, because like no outside issues, right? And like there's parameters of
right
what you can and cannot do as a sponsor,
right?
And I was like, man, people need help, and for me it really came down to this, like in our early adolescence and early childhood, our subconscious belief systems form. And I'm going to tell you what this means.
This is not good.
So you don't have a prefrontal cortex until for girls around 10, boys around 12.
Okay.
And that doesn't stop developing until you're 28.
Okay.
Your prefrontal cortex is the decision-making part of the brain, right? Your ability to like think things through properly.
Right.
And make sound decisions. And we could go down the rabbit hole of how that gets inhibited by trauma and how many people's prefrontal cortex never develop properly. But you can still fix it, which is the good news. Neuroplasticity exists. It's brilliant. But essentially, our core belief systems and subconscious belief systems develop in early childhood as a result of our environment. So it's the things that we heard, saw, experienced. And it doesn't necessarily even have to be like traumas, although most of us do go through some sort of either a little t trauma or a big T trauma, but there's traumas that happen. And as a result, we develop these belief systems that we're not even aware we have, right? Most of us are operating in this world with this like monkey mind that goes off 24/7. And it's a set of belief systems that we, when our prefrontal cortex starts to function, we kind of, and we go through puberty, we go, oh my God, I've got this internal dialogue. We start to become aware of our internal dialogue, and our internal dialogue creates our external reality.
That I'm into.
Yeah.
Because like our thoughts and the things that that's why I believe in manifestation,
exactly,
all of this stuff.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So bear with me here, people. So I developed a course to heal the subconscious belief systems through like my process of, which I'm going to update now that I'm doing this further work, but through essentially reparenting. And the course is brilliant. Everyone loves it. But I've taken it even deeper now with internal family systems work. Or I've taken my work deeper with internal family systems work. So here's the subtle difference. I read this book called No Bad Parts by Dr. Richard Schwartz. He created internal family systems. And when I read this book, it blew my mind. And essentially, it is this. You and I might believe that we're monolithic human beings, meaning you're one Sara and I'm one Alexis.
Right.
That's not true.
Right. Okay.
As we experience life, especially in early childhood, various parts begin to develop within us.
Okay.
And those parts are exiled parts, protector parts, right? There's various parts. And these parts are often in conflict with one another. Sometimes some are louder than others. And when you begin to notice and speak to these various parts, they really have a message for you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So I'll give you an example of this. I had done so much work. Oh my God, so much work. So many hours of therapy. So much work around my subconscious belief systems. It was like when I started doing this work, I already knew all of my parts. I was ahead of the game. I started working with this therapist and she's like, wow, you already know so much. And I said, yeah, because I've like in my own process, like figured this out. But then this book just really clarified everything for me.
So what's the name of the book one more time?
No Bad Parts.
No Bad Parts.
And so I get on this wait list to start working with this IFS therapist. And
with a what therapist?
IFS. So Internal Family Systems stands for IFS. So, yeah, I have had really, really bad health anxiety my whole life. And so I've done so much work on these belief systems about like I'm dying. Like that's kind of like the overall theme, right? Is like this fear of annihilation and of death, but not even a fear of death, just like this overall like overwhelming feeling that like something's going to go wrong, right?
I have that shit too. It's like existential dread.
Yeah. And so it can go away. That's good news.
It can?
Really, fully. I started working with this part with this therapist, and it's interesting because like she is me, but she's not me. And I realized that so much of it was generational. So much of it was my mom's. So much of it was passed down to me. So then we cleared out all of that. And I started to feel a little bit better. And then this protector part came up. And I realized that there's this part of me that would just shut this other part up and would go, stop thinking that way. You're going to attract that into our life. You're worried that you have cancer. You're going to get cancer. Da, da, da. And it was like, oh my God, here's this other part. Because that's not me.
Because I know exactly what you're talking about. Because when you start trying to be more mindful of your thoughts and you're shifting.
Yeah.
And you're like, I do not want to create a reality that I do not want to live in.
Yeah.
So you're trying to live more consciously and then the fear.
But that
focus
still
attracting
fear.
what
so
you don't want.
Yeah, you're still operating out of fear. And so when we get really grounded and really clear on who we are, and we start working with these parts, and it's really kind of like our higher self working with these
Through
various
you.
parts, we're able to help them unburden themselves and to free themselves. And when that happens, you can literally feel releases in your body. And that's kind of the somatic part of it and the clearing.
That's so cool.
And one thing that I've realized in this, and you know, I'm like an original biohacker chick. Like, my mom was biohacking the fuck out of us when we were like 5 years old.
You guys were the first time I ever heard about manifestation.
All of it. And I'll say that I'm prefacing all of what I'm saying because I think a lot of people find it triggering because of just where we're at. That, you know, so many people in the wellness space are promoting in a very harmful way, like this idea of removing ourselves from our humanness in order to be starseeds and all this crazy shit that you hear online.
Okay,
And
yeah,
I'm here to
TikTok.
and I'm here to just tell everyone that that's not what this is about before I go ahead and say this. What I realized in these states of hypnosis, which is essentially what they are when you're able to just like shut everything off and just like work with these parts, is that time is not linear. Time exists on all levels, on all planes, at all times. And so I was literally able to go back and heal generations, to heal 4-year-old Alexis. Kind of essentially what they're trying to do in EMDR, but it's never really successful. If anyone doesn't know what EMDR, it's like they put these things on your head and try to connect the left and right hemispheres of your brain, and they bring you back to traumatic memories, and they help you to like address your younger selves. And like, sure, that can be like helpful for sure. Like, EMDR was great, but I did not drop the pain and suffering that I was carrying with me until I did this work.
So at what point in doing this work did you see results, or is it an ongoing process?
Oh, I'm still doing it, but right away, like the first session.
Really?
Yeah. And so what's amazing is, like, if you think of yourself as like a massive mountain, and time, like I said, is not linear. So like, I get the whole power of now 100%. I totally get like being present in the present moment. But how do you be present in the present moment when you have all of these traumatized parts that are existing on various planes and energy fields within your being? How do you stay present and grounded? You can't. You can't, because your mind is always a million other places, and you can try to change your mind, which is like the Buddhist way. And I love Buddhism. You know, I'm like an avid meditator, all about it. But by denying our pain, there is no way we can heal. And it isn't until we actually go to the 4-year-old or the 6-year-old or the 9-year-old and listen to them and unburden them that we fully get to drop that. And so it's like, if I could give anything like a picture of it, it's like there's fragments of me that have been like a lifetime now away, and I'm slowly collecting them
and coming back to yourself.
And it's the process of alchemy and alchemizing and healing. And it's a wonderful thing, because what happens is any of these pieces, whether you want to call them parts or subconscious belief systems, that are not healed will continue to show up in your life in various ways.
Until you deal with them. That's really profound. And what you're saying makes a lot of sense to me. It's really interesting because I've never... Internal values. What is it?
Internal family systems.
Internal family systems. Because it almost seems like what you're saying, I've heard people come back from an ayahuasca trip and be like, oh yeah, I cured generational trauma.
Yes.
And so in terms of like the self-care space, I know more about the psychedelic realm than, you know, like classic.
Yeah, and I know psychedelics are having like a big resurgence right now, and I'm not here nor there. I think it's great.
Yeah, but it's cool that you're able to do it without it.
But let me tell you, you can. Oh my God. In breath work, I do breath work on Saturdays, this breath work class.
Really?
Oh my God. I have had full on DMT trips. Because
Really?
if you can access, if you can breathe, I mean, Joe Dispenza has this energy centers meditation. If you do that enough, you'll fully fucking trip on DMT. In your
No.
brain. Yeah, no drugs. Because the breath, if you're doing the breath properly, you can access your pineal gland, which will release
DMT.
a pretty substantial amount of DMT in your brain, and you will be high on your own supply, baby. And so I think that plant medicine can be an incredible tool for people who aren't open to this, but it can be a really fucking slippery slope.
It
too.
can be a really slippery slope for sure.
And that's
because
why I really like just, breath work and doing all this other somatic healing stuff.
Yeah, because with the psychedelic space, it comes with people still trying to chase that high, the clarity of being under the influence. But if you can get it without, and also there's a saying about psychedelics, like once you get the message, hang up the phone.
Yeah, it's what you do with it.
Right. So once you realize that you're a spiritual being having a human experience and that healing is possible, and sometimes for me personally, I was able to see that through doing psychedelics.
Mm-hmm.
And so once you gain that knowledge, you don't need to keep revisiting that space necessarily.
Which is what I was talking about in the wellness community with all these people who are going to like Burning Man and doing all these drugs and stuff, is like they come back and they deny their humanness. And so we begin to hate our human nature, right? And we want it just the same way Christians or any other, well, I don't want to say any other religion because that's not true. Christians are seeking to separate from their humanness or their humanity in order to be in these godlike states, right? So they deny their sexuality, they deny these like human traits, these animalistic traits.
Just like horny pastors everywhere, making everyone
well,
feel weird.
Exactly, because when what we suppress
comes out
even
more.
Yeah, it's like that the bottom line is this, like, yes, living spirituality is an action. It's applying spiritual principles to yourself and others, loving kindness, tolerance, peace, helpfulness, all of those things. All of the other stuff is just bullshit. And so why I advocate for doing this kind of work is because what's keeping you from being peaceful, being kind, extending love, being connected, all of those things, is your trauma and your pain. And so it's a personal journey. Like, the world is not going to change until we all start changing
and working on our shit.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, one of the things that my therapist told me, because right after I got out of the psych ward, right after you came on the podcast the first time, he was like, you need to cry. You need to learn how to bear your pain so that you can get stronger. Mm-hmm. And this is all part of that. Like, you can't not cry. You can't not experience pain if you want to experience joy.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. It's just, it's crazy. And I'm so glad that you're here to talk about these different things, because I get a lot of comics on, and comics, we struggle with all kinds of mental health stuff for sure. Yeah. There's like a large suicide rate in what I do. I got bad news today. So it's something that I want to make sure that I'm talking about. It's really important. Especially just being able to check in on your friends, even the ones you think that have it together. From the outside looking in, you're like, oh, you have a full career, you're good. No, you don't know.
And that's the thing. It's like, I get that it's so hard and that we're all so burnt out, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's like hard to stay connected. Like, I'm guilty of that, but I'm also just like such a giver. Mm-hmm. And so I'm burnt out because I'm also just such a giver. But I will say, one of the things that I've really realized is like, going through this divorce has been like, I don't think many people have checked in on me at all. Like,
Really?
it's so hard. Yeah, it's
I'm
like
so sorry.
so hard. Like, I was hoping, even from like my sponsees, that they would step in and be like, let me come babysit, let me come watch the kid, like,
Let me help you.
like, how can I help you? And it's I'm grateful. The current person that I'm dating has been remarkable, and I'm like so grateful. But I mean, yeah, it's been a lonely road, and that's okay. But yeah, I think checking in on your friends and making sure that we're okay is
It's so important.
really
Even
important.
and the thing that also blows my mind is from somebody from the outside looking in, you're like, okay, it seems like everyone's, if you look at somebody's Instagram, that's just this much of really what's going on.
Yeah.
You know?
My God. Yeah. My Instagram is totally fraudulent, you guys.
Yeah, it's a lie. Mine's a lie too.
Full on fucking lie.
If you saw my recently deleted photos, you know it's all a lie, honey.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't know. I just don't, again, it just goes back to what I was saying earlier about how it's just not sustainable to live without community in this hyper individualistic society that's so just like dog eat dog. It's just like, we can't do this anymore.
I know. And it's also because...
And you're living here in the fucking in Topanga. You know what it's like to have community. It's so much better.
It's so much better. Yeah. It's just also, I can't stress like how much being in nature changes everything for me. Like just my mental health in general from being outside and being like, okay, it's going to be okay. There's trees, there's sun. We can do this another day versus like waking up in West Hollywood now, which is like completely a mess. You know what I mean? Like the thought of going back to that lifestyle, I'm just like, this is what I need for my mental health. And from prioritizing that, it's also just, it's made things a lot easier in a lot of ways. But yeah, so yeah, I'm excited. I'm so excited that you're on the pod, and I'm excited, especially to hear about this part of your journey.
Thanks.
Where do you see the next 10 years? Do you have any idea? Because you're you're a fascinating person to me. Like, do you see yourself having more kids? Are you done? Well, because I don't have any kids. So I'm like, every day I'm like, I just want a baby.
Do you?
I just want a baby.
No, you don't.
But the grass is always greener.
Can we have a communal baby?
Yes.
If we could have like a communal baby that's here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
A baby share?
Thursday. Yeah.
I'm in a dog share.
You're in a dog share. Why not a baby share? I have a feeling I probably would. I'm going to have one more child. Don't know when. And that's a spiritual thing. There's been this little spirit around me for as long as I can remember. Every psychic I've gone to has been like, hey, you got this little guy around you that like wants to come forward, but he's just waiting for like the perfect time. And so I feel like somewhere on the journey he'll present himself, not sure when or how, but he may. And so I'm open to that because, being a mom has been the hardest work I've ever done and the most beautiful. I've got this big documentary coming out. I can't talk much about it. It's coming out in September on a major streaming platform. So we'll see what happens there. But, it was interesting because my current partner, like 5 months ago or 4 months ago, we were at dinner and he's like, what do you want? And I was like, well, I want to help as many people as I can. Sure. And, that means doing the grind of social media and all this stuff, which I've really stopped because I need help. If anyone's out there that's like in the greater Los Angeles area that wants to come to my house and create content with me twice a week and I'll pay you, let me know. 'Cause
there's probably people.
Yeah, I need help. But, I said to him, I go, I want a sweet little house on a big piece of land with a garden. And this is when I was still married and I was just starting to date this person. It was such a weird thing how that happened. I ended up getting set up with this person, and instantly I was like, wow, like, you're fucking amazing.
And so when your friend or whoever set you up with this person, were they like,
Yeah.
I have
Do you know Jeff Epstein? Also
no.
a comedian. All right. He set me up.
He did.
Yeah. And he was like, you really need to go out just once. Just like see how it goes. Just try it. And I was like, all right, yeah. Anyway, yeah, so I did, and I was like, wow, and we've been together ever since. But
And so right now it's a monogamous relationship.
yeah.
How far into that did you decide for it to be monogamous? Was it loose at first, and then?
Well, I mean, I was married at first.
Right.
It was funny because I was like, "Listen, I'm here. Jeff says I need to be here. Let's just have fun one night. One night, like basically, I'm like, I'm down to fuck. Like, are you down to fuck? Like, let's just, you know."
You're like,
I'm like, I have a husband and a girlfriend,
and I'm a mom,
and I got like a lot on my plate. Like, I'm just here for whatever. And then about like 2.5 months into it, we were like, okay, and then I finally made the decision to leave my marriage, and I was like, okay. And it really wasn't until recently that we're like, are we like actually doing this? And he was like, yeah. But anyway, I said, I go, my dream life, what I'm manifesting, what I'm calling into my life, and what I've been calling into my life for years. And it's interesting because I think I just needed to shift timelines. I said I want a pretty warm and cozy home on a big piece of land with some chickens and a garden and goats, and I want to go out to my garden at golden hour every day and pick some veggies and make dinner for my family and just like live like a slower paced life. I feel like I really haven't had the opportunity to do that, and it was so funny because that was months ago, and so I finally moved. I sold my house. I moved into this little sweet little single story like post-war home that
sounds so cute.
Oh my god, it's so cute, and it's got this like beautiful fireplace, and it's so cozy, and I finished decorating it, and it's my birthday, and I see him on my Ring video doorbell carrying in these huge like half cut like wine barrels, like they're massive, and he's carrying them into the backyard. And I'm like, what are you doing? And he goes, well, babe, I can't get you a big house yet, but I'm going to get you a garden. And we're going to start your garden.
No, that's so cute.
Like, oh, my God. You're the sweetest human ever. And he was like, yeah, we're going to start the garden. And I'm like, okay.
I love that.
And he was like, I already know how to do it. You got to wait for me to come and drill holes in the bottom of this thing. And we're going to, start simple and like work our way up. But yeah, I'm like, oh God, you're like that's the thing. It's like I've never been so just like listened to and heard. Like I feel like I'm just so heard and valued and validated, and it's really like the most precious, sweetest thing.
Right.
And
that's beautiful.
Anyway, I don't know where it's gonna go, but he's great.
But that's the thing. It's like we never know where any of it's going to go.
No.
Ever.
Mm-mm.
And the more you think, the less you do know. You're like, oh, this is my soulmate. You know how many fucking times I've been like, I'm marrying this one? It's like every other month with me. I'm like, this is my soulmate for sure. I will not get rid of my apartment, but this might be my soulmate.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just, I feel like, Evan definitely was a soulmate, a part of my soul's journey. Like, he was a mate for me.
Well, yeah.
For this lifetime.
And we can have so many different soulmates.
That's the thing. It's like everyone thinks it's got to be this fairy tale of like one and forever and you're married for 40 years. And I think it's just too much pressure. It's just so much pressure.
It's so much pressure. And then it's almost like the more you feel like that's what your society wants you to do, the more you want to do the opposite. That's how I am.
Yeah.
for me personally, I'm like, oh, those are the rules. Let me figure out how to fuck
You had
those
a little
up.
bit of like an oppositional defiance piece there.
Yeah,
Sara.
like an angsty teen piece.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
you go.
So that's why when I was saying that your relationship was open, I was like, okay, maybe I can have it all. I can have like a.
You can. I mean, finding a conscious partner that's poly in Los Angeles is not the easiest thing to do. But they exist.
But I'm also like, do I want to share the person I love?
Yeah, then you gotta.
I gotta work on my evolution.
First. Yeah, well, if that's what you want. But I will say, they're out there. If you're on the dating apps, you see more and more people that say they're ENM in their profile.
I know the dating apps are intense.
Yeah.
I do not like the dating apps.
I just don't take them too seriously.
No, I do not like the dating apps. I don't like the someone messaged me on the dating app is like, "Are you rich?" First question at the bat.
Ooh,
it's like
that's
cringy. No, I'm not.
That's really.
I don't know where
like,
to go
I'm
from
a
here.
Struggling comedian. I'm gonna be doing this until I'm 75. We're never retiring. I mean, what?
Yeah, no, I know it's so fucking crazy, and just it's
cringy.
It's cringy.
That's gnarly.
But then also I have on some apps look for girls too, and I'm like, the girls on the apps are scarier than the men.
Are you bi?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm like,
Have you fucked a girl before?
I haven't fucked a girl before. No.
Okay. Have you kissed a girl?
Yeah, I've kissed a girl before.
And did you like it?
I did, but it was a long time ago.
I'm like, do
you know what I mean?
Perry song. Yeah.
And I'm also just like at this point where I thought that the last person that I dated I was going to marry. So now I'm like, who am I even? I'm 35. Let me just explore.
You have very gay girl vibes.
I do?
Like, you should maybe
explore being gay.
Yeah.
Next week you'll see I'm poly. I'm poly gay witch like you.
There you go. But I think you should connect with a few women on Bumble and just see what happens. Why don't you just go on a couple dates? Like, it's not a big deal to go on a few dates.
Because I matched with one girl.
Yeah.
I matched with one girl. She said
so many of you're gonna get ghosted a million times.
Okay, they're all fucking already. Everyone's I'm like, give me a man. This is too much for me emotionally. I'm like, oh, okay. I matched with this girl, beautiful. She messages me and is like, hey, so are you actually gay? And I was like, I don't know. I put it as I'm open to women, and this is the response. And then I was like, I'm not really sure. I'm just open to explore.
I will say it, in the lesbian community, there's a lot of biphobia. Yes, there's biphobia.
Unmatched me.
There you go.
But I'm like, what'd I do to you, bitch? Then for like a week, Alexis, I was like, she was so beautiful. I matched with her. I should have just told her I was full gay.
No,
and then I'm like,
never lie, because like being newly queer is like a challenging experience. But I will say, it is the downfall of many lesbians that they have a certain degree of biphobia, but it's understandably so, because we're so hypersexualized, and there have been so many of us who have been used, myself including, as like, hey, let's hook up and da 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 da, you know, and I've got a boyfriend, but you know, and so it's like a bi girl, or not even bi, that's using a lesbian relationship in order to get like clout, or to hit low power mode. In order to get clout, or in order to be seen as sexy by the men in their lives, or whatever it might be. Like, it's just so layered and complex. But like, clearly, if she wasn't open to holding space for you as someone who is like exploring their sexuality, then that's not the person for you. But there's like lots of amazing women on the apps, and I like highly suggest that you, or like, have your lesbian friends that have the baby like set you up with one of their lesbian friends just on a date. You never know. You could have like a great connection and really enjoy it, or not.
All right, I'm open.
I mean, I
will say though, the girls on Raya are scary.
How come I can't get on Raya?
You could get on Raya.
No, they waitlisted me, and and it was 5 months of waitlisting. They never got. I'm now in a relationship.
No.
But they were like, we don't let felons on here.
No,
Fucking
that's
Raya.
not.
Fuck you, Raya. There are fucking losers on Raya.
There's-
Many losers.
Dude, the content creators, the male DJs
I know.
in big hats. It's horrible. You do not want to be on
guy
there.
that used to run my treatment center, it was on Raya, and I'm like, you're a fucking loser, dude. Like, how are you on Raya but I'm not? And then I was just like, fuck this shit.
It's
I'm
bad,
so
but
fucking
Raya
stupid.
is honestly the worst app because everyone just wants to. It's like there's so
Use
much
each
ego
other.
in it.
Yeah.
Of like, oh yeah, cool, we match, but I'm never gonna message you. I just
Yeah.
want to know that I can match with like a hot, successful person on a whim one day.
Yeah.
That's kind of the vibe of Raya.
Well, fuck Raya. I would
Fuck Raya.
say Bumble. Oh no, Hinge for women. The girl side of Hinge.
This is the
That's
thing,
where
though.
it's
I
at.
don't see myself settling down with a woman.
But you never know.
All right, I'm open.
I'm telling you, one of the times of my life where I felt like the most loved and the most cherished and the most yummy was when I was dating that girl Kim, and I would have never expected that. So you never know.
You never know. Do you think you'll date a girl again, or end up with a girl ultimately, or do you see yourself in a heterosexual relationship long term?
Oh, I have such a hard time with that because it's like I'm so queer, but I'm so in love with the person that I'm currently dating. And so
Right.
that's the struggle of all bi women. And it is true that, like, well, at least in my experience, it feels like a missing part of myself, like not to be able to
Explore.
experience my queerness and to, like, be with women.
Right.
And it's, my partner is like, you can.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I can't.
Well, if you're emotionally connected
first
to your
of all,
partner,
one way, but one way open relationships don't work.
no, because there's gonna be resentment there, and you wouldn't want to invite a girl into that, right? Because you like keeping it separate.
I would totally have a threesome with him just because I would like miss women so much right now.
Would you do that? Do you think he would be down with that? Of course. Yeah, you're right. It's a
He's
man.
like a hetero cis male. Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, not right now. Like, my nervous system needs to, like, chill the fuck out. But I'm like, hey, if we see some, like, we're going to Mexico in a week and some change. No, wait, less than a week, like 5 days. And I'm like, if there was some, like, hot girl at the pool that wanted to come play,
You'd be open.
100%. One, come into our bed.
I love it.
Yeah.
Such a good pod. We covered a lot.
We did.
We covered everything from suicide, mental illness, being in the psych ward, divorce, all the things.
All the things. By the way, guys, I've been suicidal like many times in my sobriety.
You have.
It's totally normal.
Are you on antidepressants?
No.
No. So you're raw dogging.
Raw dogging life right now. And it feels real raw.
It does?
Yeah, it feels like a bit yeasty and raw.
No. Well, thank you for coming on the podcast.
It's painful, but we're good. Thanks for having me. I'll come back anytime. I'll go on your other podcast.
Yes, I want to get you on the other podcast too.
Hike when my kids are back in school.
Please
and
come
when
hike.
it's not 98 degrees.
When it's not 98 degrees, or if you want to come for a lunch, whenever.
I would love that.
Yeah.
We could pick up Erewhon.
We love Erewhon.
We do.
We love Erewhon.
I'll
stay
pay
poor.
$18 for chicken.
I'll stay fucking poor and eat
You
Erewhon for
pay-
the rest of my damn life.
100%.
Catch me at the hot bar.
Yeah. I literally was at the hot bar the other day. And I ordered like a side of mac and cheese for my kids, and it was $26 for mac and cheese, and I was
gluten-free
like,
mac and
yeah,
cheese.
it's so good though.
So
It's
good.
so good.
Sometimes
It's, like,
you need
stupid
it.
Good. I know.
know.
And then I bought a salad for $17, and I was like, well, if I were to DoorDash sweet green to me, it would be like $25. So I just saved $7. And I'm like, dude, you can't afford sweet green or Erewhon right now.
No, I know the constant struggle of there's food at home. That whole conversation. I'm like, but also some days I'm like, okay, what's more important than my health? Yeah, so what? I buy a kale salad at Erewhon. I live 10 years longer.
There you go. Yeah.
Like what you spend on your health, I don't know. What you spend on food, you save in your medical.
But do you really want to live longer than like 85?
No, not unless I'm like half robot.
By that point, that's a possibility.
Like half AI. And I'm like, you could just change out parts.
It's funny because that's actually my new like porn fetish.
AI
is like this AI sex dolls. I don't know why I'm so.
Wait,
into
what
it.
do you mean?
I'm so weird.
Wait, you watch
we
porn?
We just took like a fucking sharp left.
Wait, do you watch porn of AI?
Yeah, like I was watching.
What do you search?
It wasn't even a search. I just was watching porn the other day, and this video came up of this dude fucking a sex doll, but they're not sex dolls anymore. Like they fully like fucking move and stuff. It's crazy.
Okay.
But it was like the hottest video, like the way that he was like caring for the doll and like touching her and like treating her, and I was like, because that's my fantasy. My boyfriend always makes fun of me. He's like, you just like to be treated like 3 holes. And I'm like, I do. I just want you to like beat me up and fuck my face. And like, you know what I mean? Like, just, it's not, I mean, I love like being worshipped and pleasure and all that. And he's great at that. But then like this flip switches on him and he becomes like his animalistic nature. And I become, you know, like,
and that's like the best.
A hole, essentially. and like that's what I'm into. And so I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, yeah, treat me like a sex doll. Like, yeah, just like maneuver me, pull me, twist me, open me, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I'm just here for the ride. Right. And
because there's nothing more fun than having really amazing sex and getting treated like a sex doll from time. Sometimes you just need to get fucked like you're a sex doll.
Yeah, I think so. And so, yeah, that porn came up and I was like, I'm fucking down for this. Like, this is kind of hot and great. Also, I don't love porn. It's weird. And maybe this is because of my, like, fucking top energy when I'm in a gay relationship. I like from the male's pleasure perspective. And often in porn, all you hear is women going, so loud that, like, I can't fucking focus or hear anything else because it's just her pretending to moan.
Pretending to come.
Bothering me.
Yeah, right.
And so I like the other thing because it's like, she's quiet. You know what I mean?
She's quiet.
She's fucking quiet.
Watch a woman give a guy a head than watch her moan.
No, even when they're giving head, they're fucking moaning, which I do when I'm giving head. But like, the point is,
if you're good at giving head, you pull out all the tricks, honey.
I like him. It's like I'm not pretending I'm the girl when I'm watching sex. I'm like the guy. Isn't that weird?
Okay, wait, you're not
the girl receiving.
Oh, yeah. That's interesting. Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I am, but a lot of the times I'm like, I wish I had a dick and I could just dick down some girl right now. That's really like, I'm fucking weird. Whatever.
It's not weird.
It's different for sure. But we all have our weird fucking porn fantasies.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Dude, the
Mine
porn
are just maybe a little bit weirder than others.
I mean, some of the porns that I've watched, I'm like, this would be embarrassing if anyone knew.
And
machines
so
and shit.
My boyfriend was talking about this after. He's like, you don't understand. Sometimes after we come, we have this like guilt about like what we just did or watched. And I go, we have that too. Oh my God. I got off the other day on some like 70-year-old dude getting head from some girl. And I'm like, yeah. And my thought process was, you're such a fucking loser. You have a tiny dick. And that's the best girl you're ever going to get in your life. And like, that got me off. And I'm just fucking weird. Whatever. I just go on like the homepage of like whatever's up. And I'm like, well, I guess we'll watch this. But I come in like no time.
I'm like that too.
Does not. When I'm having sex with someone, it takes me a while. But when I'm by myself, fucking 5 minutes or less.
The guy that I'm seeing now, the sex is crazy. It's amazing.
Is there cum on this bed?
No, there's no cum.
Okay.
I go to his house.
Okay, good. All right.
I'm gonna have you on a cum-filled bed,
Just
Alexis.
kidding.
What kind of whore do you
know.
think I am?
Hey, listen, shit happens. Okay.
Shit does happen. But yeah, no, I don't know where we're going with this, but yeah, fuck yeah.
That we're
We
weird.
all watch weird porn. We're all weird. We're all weirdos just trying to survive.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah. you
so much for coming on the
Thanks for having me.
podcast.
That was a really great ending.
It was.
Superb. Hopefully everyone stuck around for that part.
Oh yeah, people are listening to this whole thing through.
It's good.
Yeah,
All right.
it's a good pod. Thank you so much for coming on. Where can people find you? Do you have anything you want to promote?
If you're even open to finding me after all of this.
No, you don't understand. I have comedy fans.
Okay.
People who are love the kooky, love the crazy.
And you know what's funny is like I might just in my career take a sharp left because I don't know if you ever listen to Bitch Bible with Jackie Schimmel, but everyone was like, "Oh my God, you two are so hysterical together," and I'm like, I am, and with my friend Allie Colbert too, and I'm like, Colbert, I always fuck up her last name. It's Colbert. But anyway, I always have such a great time on comedy podcasts because my humor is so dark and I'm so open.
And because you've been through so much shit.
Yeah, I'm like, maybe I should be doing this and not even like self-help shit. Anyway, you can follow along with me on Instagram or on TikTok at It's Alexis Haines. Both are fucking stupid and fake, but also great. So
we'll link to them in the description of this episode so people can easily find you. And thank you so much for coming on and being vulnerable and sharing everything. And I appreciate it so much.
Thanks. Oh, and also if you want to do my course, you can go to my website, which is in my bio.
Hell yeah.
And sign up for it. It's great.
Awesome. We'll link to that too.
Sweet.
We'll link to all of it. And thank you guys so much for listening to another episode of Shenk. We'll see you next week. Bye.